Welcome to Through the Eyes of a Mystic, Sacred, Wild and Unfiltered Echoes. These are the stories of Bernard Alvarez, a queer spiritual teacher, pagan priest and healer, told through the echoes of his life. The voices of the ancestors, the ache of youth, the fire of magic, the pain of grief, and the beauty of becoming. This podcast is a sacred offering of memory and meaning, experience and wisdom, shared to honor the path that shaped him into the man we know today. And perhaps to help you remember your own sacred journey.
We're live, finally. I have been dying to do live with you guys for so long. We are here. I have received your messages. I've gotten your questions. I've gotten your DMs. All the above. I haven't even read any of the ones I've received so far. However, if you are here live on the chat, please feel free to type in any questions that you have. We are here today to talk about my podcast, which is very, very personal to me. It tells you I'm sharing my spiritual life path with you from when I was a child till now, through all the things I've gone through, the good, the bad, the crazy, all the above. And anyway, please, by all means, feel free to post your questions. Nothing is off limits today. If it is, I'm just going to kind of wink and go. We'll talk about that later. Oh, my pentagram fell under because I've been jumping around because of that stupid YouTube thing. But anyway, I love you, YouTube, but you got to figure out how to work these different accounts that we have. Anyway, I see someone already on the chat I want to say hello to. I see Steelers Nations, and they're asking, how am I doing? Well, thank you for asking. That means a lot to me, quite honestly. It has been, well, last time I was live was probably about a month ago. I do post in the whatever the post section of YouTube, so I know we're on YouTube, but I'm always posting on Facebook. So for my friends at YouTube that don't get to see my daily posts or my weekly posts or whatever, I do try to keep everybody updated with what's going on. So I am going to tell you what's going on, YouTube and my dear friend Steelers Nation. Um, Last week, I think you all know what I've been in bereavement or grieving or whatnot. And I joined this group over at our local hospital. Carillion is a major, this is not a plug. I'm just saying this is where I go. But if you want to, anyway, they have this program called the Grief and Healing Outpatient Program. It's several hours a week, one day a week. Excuse me. And I was there this past Friday was the first time. It goes on for about 10 weeks. So anyway, it was hard. The idea of going there was really strange and scary for me. And I did, as much as I wanted to talk myself out of it, I did end up going. It was great. The people are wonderful. I got to meet other people going through the same stuff that I'm going through, losing a child. And it was hard in the sense that it's like, I shared this before, was it's like scratching off your scab, which I had gotten. And, kind of like, healing it, cleaning it, and letting it heal the right way, maybe even stitching it up so you don't have a scar. What they did was the first day they asked us to tell the story of the moment that we learned that our child was gone. And that was rough. That was really rough. And I thought it was rough for me, but as I was like listening to everyone else's story, there's only about 7 of us in the group. And some of them just couldn't even get it out. And what's so interesting, and I've learned this, I don't know if any of you out there are dealing with grief of a parent, a friend, a relative, a child, whatever it might be. What I've learned is some of these people, the event or their loss happened like 2 years ago, a year ago. I mean, I'm going on six months now. And even 2 years later, these people are still wrecked. And I shouldn't say these people. My new friends, really, is what they are. But yeah, wow, that was really rough. I was kind of numb for a day or two, and that was fine. Thank goodness I had the weekend off. I got to relax and hang out with a couple friends, watch some movies. I'll get into movies on another show, but yeah, I'm in a Halloween mode. We all watch horror movies in October, so yeah, I've been watching a lot of horror movies. But so, how am I doing? I'm feeling a lot like myself again. I am taking clients again. I've been taking clients again. I am posting on my social media again, like I have been. And I'm coming up with a new schedule for my YouTube channel. I know it's been a little sporadic the last few months. You know, you could you can tell I've just not been myself. But we're looking at doing a live podcast like this once a month. We're doing the actual podcast, which is going to be released the first week of every month through the Eyes of a Mystic. That's the logo behind me or the background. And then, of course, any Sabbaths. Next week, we have Samhain is coming up. We will be doing the Samhain Sabbath live. And I'm hoping that on the months where we have a Sabbath, we'll see. I want to do every Tuesday again, but we'll see. I have classes that I've written prior to April that I haven't been able to share with you yet. I've got a couple already that I want to polish up and maybe share with you. So yeah, we're getting back in the roll of things. God, it took 6 months to get back into the mood of things. Anyway, so without further ado, let's go ahead and I am going to start with some questions that you all sent me. If you want to, you are welcome to post them in the chat and I will answer them. I'm starting with probably the hardest question. Have you ever doubted your spiritual path and what helped you keep going? Well, that's probably going to end up, and that's probably a part of part 4 of the podcast, which has already started, or part 3, uh, or episode 3, part 2. And I'm going to talk about that if I haven't. I am telling you now. I don't remember what I wrote on the script, but I'm going to say that I lost my faith once. Once. And I mean completely lost my faith. And it was after Hurricane Wilma. And my business was destroyed. I finally had, I don't know how many of you remember or if I talk about it very often, but when I was younger, I used to work in the fashion industry. And I finally had like a backer slash, yeah, I guess that's what you call it, an owner that wanted me to take over one of their salons in a fancy area of Miami. And I was working there when Hurricane Wilma came around, and it was on the news, from what I understand. I never saw it myself, but my friends were like, Bernard, your salon is on the news, and all the hair products are rolling down the street during the hurricane. We had nothing. There was nothing. When I got back there, it was a shell. We tried to work in the dark, but I ended up losing everything. I lost a lot of friends because I guess when you're used to knowing someone who's quote unquote in control, I kind of feel that way now with my grief, but it's much different now. It's much different now. This is 2005. And when I was asking for help, they're like, well, I need help too, and I need help too, and I need help. And what I meant by that was I just wanted someone to vent to. It's like I lost my business, my life fell apart. I ended up having to move to my friend's couch for several months. And the good news is, and this is part 2 of what helped keep me going, is YouTube. It was you guys. A lot of it has been deleted, but during that time, I kind of kept like a live vlog of what was going on, from me being evicted from my apartment because there was no electricity, and me trying to get the Global Illumination Council started, which we did very, very well. I'm surprised. I wasn't surprised, but having, spirit visitations and all that stuff during this very tumultuous time of my life really kept my faith going. I had no idea how to work with technology. And this is the one thing, I don't know if I've shared this with everyone on a broadcast maybe in the last 10 years, but I want you to know that I never got trained in technology. I wanted a computer when I was in college. My parents wouldn't get me a computer. I wanted a computer all through the 80s, the 90s, and maybe even the early 2000s. I think I finally got one um, right after Hurricane Wilma. Was it right after or maybe right before? Anyway, it was these spirits, well, my guides, the emissaries of light that I know I've spoken about many, many times, that kind of came to me one day and said, you need to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to do this. And I would kind of channel the the spirits, for lack of a better term, and they were the ones who built the websites, the social media presence. I had no idea what was going. Yeah, back then we had MySpace, and I kind of pittered around with that, but I had no idea about like Facebook or YouTube or this or that or how to make things happen or how to edit videos or do intros anyway. The reality of it is they built this entire freaking website, the Global Illumination Council. It was the GIC.org. I don't know who has it now. It ends up like spam or something, but we had like what 75,000 members at one time, and we were doing pretty good work. Unfortunately, during the transition from spiritual awakening to, and I'll just say it, and please forgive me if you all, I'm not judging, but I will say that Trumpism kind of changed all of that. So we kind of just let that site go. We started getting a lot of angry people. They're like, well, you're a Satanist and you're gay. And so we were like, all right, 75,000 people or not, we're gonna flush it down the toilet. And it was probably the best thing I ever did. I don't even think I'm going to talk about this in my podcast, so I don't know. Thank you for getting me started on this wonderful question. Who was it? Delilah on Facebook. Delilah on Facebook asked that question. And I think I answered about 20 more than what she actually asked for. So let's move on. If I don't see anything here, nope, no questions. So let's go ahead. And what I'm going to do is read another one randomly. Again, I don't know. Well, this is Nancy from YouTube. Hi, Nancy. I don't know if you're watching. How do you integrate humor and lightness into your mystical experiences? There are layers to that. To be honest with you, it depends on what I'm doing. If it's a Sabbath. Sabbats to me are celebrations. Yeah, we're going to do a spell, but to me they are a celebration, and we don't take them as my coven personally. And from what I've seen in the past, many other covens don't take them as seriously as an esbot or a magical working ritual or ceremonial magic ritual, whatever you want to call it. To me, Sabbats are celebrations aligning with the wheel of the year and the quarter days, cross quarter days, the equinoxes, etc. We're coming up on the cross quarter day of Samhain in just a week or two. And so in those situations, I'm pretty free. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Oh, sure, bring your beer in the circle. It's a Sabbath. I'm not really concerned too much. And we do our coven, the Stone Mountain Grove, does do, I won't say public Sabbaths, but we do have an outer court that we invite, and then the outer court is allowed to invite their friends. So it's kind of open, semi-open. So it's definitely much more casual, much more relaxed. So there's a lot of humor in there. When we, knock over the chalice or catch our robe on fire, we all just kind of giggle and it's like, oh, well, it's a Sabbath. Not to say that we're like drunken fools falling all over the place, but I try not to take Sabbath so intensely. Now, when I'm doing an SBOT, when I am working a magical or ceremonial magical ritual with my coven and it's just us, I am very focused. I am very aware of the next step. I'm very aware of where we are in the ritual. I'm very aware of how much energy has risen, how much we're rising, as a collective, how much is being released into our cone of power, and of course directing that energy when we finally release it. Um, but my personal spiritual work, now I'm going to go to me on my daily practices, which are not so daily anymore. I'm going through grief. I'm trying to do every day, but every other day, every 2 days. Um, for me, I have to laugh at everything. And I do, because if I did not laugh at, sometimes I'll be meditating or I'll be reading. I love to read in the morning. That's my thing. I love to read passages from, even oh shoot, what am I reading right now that I have by my side? The Emerald Tablet, the Hermeticist thingamajiggery, the Hermes Trismeg, whatever. I have that right next to me. I also have my Al-Anon books. I also have my ceremonial magic books, and I even have my book. So what I'll do is I'll just reach over, grab something. I'll do what they call is bibliomancy. Have you all ever heard of that word? I keep turning my head to the side because I don't know why. I don't know if you've ever heard of bibliomancy, but it's kind of like asking the universe to talk to you through a book. And in the morning, what I'll do is I will just randomly reach over to the right, grab a book, whatever's there. I'll just like let my fingers go up and down and wiggle around and grab something and open to a book, a page randomly. And that's my message for the day. My Al Anon sponsor prefers I read Al Anon literature every morning. And sometimes I will go out of the way of do that, but once in a while it will be, Hermetic teachings. It'll be ceremonial. It might be my teachings from my guides from the Book of One, because that's what I needed that day. Um, I don't even remember what the question was, but yeah. Oh, humor. So it's funny because I'm laughing now because a lot of times I'll be reading something about, let's say, my favorite, detaching with love. It's an Al Anon thing that we do. Detaching with love. It's like, okay, I love you. You have the right to do whatever you want. It's your path, but I am not here to judge your path unless it affects me. And if it affects me, I have the right to remove myself from that path. But then I'll giggle and think about, like, well, what about geopolitics? I can't really remove myself if there's a war going on around me. I can't remove myself if my, healthcare is being taken away from me, So I have to laugh. There's just so, and I think this is a really important lesson, everybody. This is a very important lesson. When it comes to when it comes to spiritual wisdom, I think one of the best um, types of wisdom that we can learn to draw from in our daily life is called nuance, subtlety. Energy is subtle. Energy is subtle. Usually the stuff that's yelling at you and screaming at you is a distraction. But energy and vibration in this human form, in our 3D, 3.5D, whatever you want to call it, form, we've really got to tap into it and really focus on it. I can easily be distracted by, a newscast, a weather report. Yes, of course, we want to protect ourselves and our family and whatnot. However, don't look at that as, and I'm going to say this very clearly, as clear as I can. Do not look at the idea of spirituality and material world, corporate world, political world, don't necessarily look at them as separate because it is all one. But I will say, and I learned this is one of the first things I ever learned, is you must alter your state of consciousness to that level in order to understand it. So if you're looking at let's say you're in a space of wonderful morning meditation, you're feeling the vibes, the energy is moving through you, at least that's what I feel. The third eye is buzzing, whatever, you're in the middle of this wonderful thing, and then you hear that your neighbor knocks on the door and says, they took away my health care. Well, if you're looking at it from up here, you might be like, oh honey, everything's gonna be fine, da 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 da. No, 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 no. That's not the way it goes. It is contrasting. It is contrasting. If we are at one level and we are going to look at the world on another vibrational, well, I got to show my hands, another vibrational level, we have to align ourselves with that level first. We have to educate ourselves on that level first. If you are going to talk about politics from a spiritual level, you're going to get confused. You're going to get aggravated. You're going to become intolerant, which we seem to see that a lot lately. But let's say on the opposite level, let's say that we are, actually, you know what? I'm just going to give you an example. I once posted, and this is how I learned it, quite honestly. I once posted something about, I don't know, starving children in Africa or something like that. And somebody said, well, how does the law of attraction work with this? Did they ask for that? And da da da. One, it was an ignorant response as far as I'm concerned. But yes, it's a fair question. Do people who suffer through war, who suffer through famine, who suffer through poverty, is that what they asked for? Is it karmic? Is it part of their reincarnation spiritual path? Or is it the law of attraction that they want to have poverty? No. It can be a piece of all of those things. And only you, through your higher self, can understand that everyone is on their own individual path. It is not up for me to judge if you're an addict, if you're living in a place that's constantly at war, if you're living in a place with a strange dictator, orange president, it's a part of our journey. It's a part of, I get clients constantly asking, is everything going to be okay? Is everything going to be okay? In the big picture, it is going to be okay. Is it going to be rough going for a little while? Of course it is. Let's be realistic. We can't look at the world through rose-colored glasses. One of the greatest things I've ever learned in the last several years was spiritual bypassing. And I learned that because of the fact that I was so focused on my spiritual practice and constantly being connected to my higher self and doing everything I can to maintain that energetic connection that I was blind to my own best friend of almost a decade, who I lived with for 8 years, was a drug addict. I didn't even see it. I did not see that coming at all. And it's because, quite honestly, when we get so hooked on our own spiritual growth, it almost becomes egotistical, that it's just about me, 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 me. Don't get me wrong, there is a happy balance there. Yeah, you can't fill an empty cup. Of course, we want the cup to be full. But to be so obsessed that all we care about is meditating, all we care about are classes, all we care about are being this good, perfect little person. I talked about it last night at my Al-Anon meeting. These aren't even any of the questions. I feel like I'm confessing to you. But anyway, I love you guys, and I trust you. Last night, there was, I don't know, a discussion about, I don't remember, like step 10, like doing an inventory, and then like apologizing when you needed to or whatnot. And then we got into like guilt and all that. So somehow my spirit moves me to like bleh, spill out my guts. And I do see comments, and I'm going to get to them in just a minute. Um, and I was like, when I first came to Al Anon, I was so screwed up because of the surprise of finding out my best friend was an addict. And here I am thinking I'm so spiritual and I'm a healer, and I offered them healing. I offered them, anything. I was like, whatever you need, let me know. You want Reiki? I'll give you Reiki. I actually did give them Reiki once, but they didn't want it. It's like, as they say, throwing pearls before swine. But I won't get into that too deeply. I don't want to sound too resentful. Um, that I was so caught up in my own spiritual growth and my own spiritual practice, I was blind to what was happening around me emotionally and what was happening to me emotionally. I was aware I was unhappy. I was aware that I had to keep making excuses for this guy and call his boss and call him out sick and pay bills and apologize to the neighborhood and apologize to everybody for everything he was doing and saying and acting like, and having the mayor look for him. I mean, it was insane. But I didn't see it. Talk about denial. I was so focused on, okay, back to being aligned with spirit. Anyway, that is a great example of spiritual bypassing. When our only focus becomes, when our spiritual path becomes so damn selfish that that's all we care about, we're losing compassion. And not only are we losing compassion, we are losing the awareness of our own emotional growth, which was a hard lesson that I had to learn. I had to learn that I had PTSD from this guy, and well, from my family. I was in denial that my father was an alcoholic for years. It wasn't until 2 years ago, sitting in an Al-Anon meeting, I was like, oh, damn, he died from alcoholism. Duh. I grew up in an alcoholic home. I never realized it. Never. Never. So you want to talk about an awakening. You want to talk about losing your faith and getting it back. I got it back. It was a smack in the face, but I got it back. So I will leave you, but I want to read some of these comments. So I want to say, just always, when weird things happen around you, and don't get me wrong, we're all a little traumatized. We all have a little PTSD, especially right now in the world. We all do. We all have a little bit of crisis going on. God knows I do. Goddess knows. But even though we are going through our own little drama in our mind, let's be a little more mindful of the energy of the people that we love around us, because they're going through something too. And don't get me wrong, there's a difference between an energy vampire and a victim that's like, oh, poor me, poor me, poor me, poor me, poor me, and they just want to suck your energy. Got rid of one of those recently. However, be aware. Be aware of your emotional spiritual growth. There is a part of it. There's physical spiritual growth, and of course there's spiritual, soul, higher self spiritual growth. But they're all integrated, and it's not just one way. I wish people would understand that. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at some of these comments. I saw the word Satan. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. I know this isn't exactly on top, but yeah, okay. Oh, well, thank you. I don't know what chthonic, I mean like Cthulhu? No, it does not violate the rules. Thank you so much. Do I work with Lucifer and demonic energies in my spiritual practice? You know what? That is a wonderful question. Thank you. So, in my practice, first of all, this was one of the first TV shows I ever did, like 30 years ago, was to be on a panel with a Satanist and talk about I don't want to say the discrepancies and similarities. So it was a little bit of both, and it was kind of cool. And there was a lot of similarity. There was just a little bit of difference in the belief of what the energies were behind the names. So let me start with a little bit of history. Pre, um, I'm just going to say Judeo-Christian, Muslim, Islamic beliefs. So pre all of that, pre, you know, Torah, Bible, all that stuff. Um, there were pagan entities, pagan deities that the masses worked with. There were fays, there were elementals, there were the jinn, depending on the culture. There were orishas. There, I mean, everywhere around the world. I can go. I'm not going to remember every name or every title, but we can go through every single culture and see that there were some mystical, energetic forms or thought forms, and that's a whole nother discussion. Um, I have a video on it, something about what are gods or something like that. But anyway, so prior to all that, there were these energetic beings, deities, if you want to call them that. And what happened was Solomon, King Solomon, single-handedly by writing the Goetia or the Key of Solomon or whatever version you might be looking at, he turned Astarte into Astaroth. He turned all the gods and goddesses preceding his belief system, which I don't even know what that might have been. I can't really even call it Judaism. But if you go back far enough, you'll see he drew from all the neighboring countries, communities, whatever, from their deities, turned them into demons, and put them in the Goetia, and then you summon them and you control them to do your bidding. And I am very much against that. Making a spirit do my bidding. I'm not going to do that. I will direct energy. I will be very firm with the way I want the energy to go, but I'm not going to trap some poor fae or elemental to do my bidding. That's just not right. If they're friendly and they like me and we want to get along and they want to work with me, of course, please help me with this. Please, Isis, Astarte, Diana, Hecate, Demeter, yes, please, if you want to add your power to the work I'm doing, I will appreciate that. But I would never bind a daemon, Daemon. Daemons are these things, and what happened was later on in history, the demons, they were ended up being called demons. All of this stuff is kind of new in the sense of the history of humanity, where we've been around for millions of years, and this stuff is maybe 3 or 4 thousand years old. So we've always worked with nature energy and nature elements. We've always anthropomorphized. God, that's a hard word to say. Anthropomorphized them and made them into these like living deities or demons, and used their energy to our benefit, or we've asked for their help, whatever it might be. When it comes to Lucifer, now that is a little bit different from what I understand, and I might be wrong. I might need to learn more about this, quite honestly. But I understand Lucifer to be an entity of light from the Strega witchcraft traditions in Italy. Apparently, Lucifer means light bearer. If you read, there's a book called the Book of Aradia, written, what was his name? I'm not going to remember. Leland. I forgot the first or last name, but it's Leland. The Book of Aradia, and it tells the story of Lucifer. And so what I'm getting at here, I don't know, something popped up on my screen. I'm like, what? So what I'm getting at here is that when Judeo-Christian, Muslim, Islamic beliefs came into play, what they did was they made all the pre-Judeo-Christian, Islamic beliefs or deities into demons, because that's how you convert people. if you go to all the churches and cathedrals in Northern Europe, or probably even in Israel itself, a lot of them are built over pagan sacred sites. I look what they do in America to the Native American sacred sites. Don't even get me started. I mean, I don't want to get, it makes me sad and I'll start crying. But let's just say there are things going on in Miami and the Miami Circle with sacred stuff and sacred native indigenous areas, and you know who is jumping in to take it over and build a library. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, I think Lucifer just is a light bearer. I think he's misunderstood. And actually, if you watch the TV show, I thought they did a great job of portraying Lucifer as this guy, like, you know what? I was sent to hell. I don't want to be here. And he's like, I'm coming up there to be a human. And think about it. Think about it. He was sent to hell for disobeying God. What was his crime? He wanted to worship God and not people. I mean, talk about a frickin' what do we call that? A whatever family, whatever. The family I grew up in. I forgot what we call it, but a screwed up family. His father throws him into the bowels of hell and makes him the ruler of this horrible area because he wanted to worship his father instead of the human beings that, like, he threw on this little blue marble in the universe. And now we all think that he has all this power over us, and he doesn't. Anyway, I will say this though, and I believe that if you believe, no matter the name you use, no matter the deity you're working with, I believe if you understand the deity, if you understand the name, if you understand the history, if you understand the way you are ascribing a certain energy into that name, you're giving it power. And you're creating a thought form. And that goes into how gods are made, my video. And therefore, yes, you can. If you think Lucifer is evil and awful, then yes, he's going to be evil and awful. I mean, look at this thing. This is an ancient symbol from way, 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 way back when. Even the Amish, I think they still use it. I'm looking at the time because I have an appointment in a few minutes, so I got to go soon. Talk about misunderstood. It just seems that we get a lot of things wrong. I think there's a lot of misunderstanding going around. And I believe that if we all just do it with me, take a deep breath and exhale, just take a breath. When we start getting all reactive, and I'm saying this to me too, because I do it all the time. I was reactive 2 hours ago. When we get reactive, if we can just bring our attention to our breath, bring ourselves to this moment right now, our lives are going to be so much easier. The reality of it is that you have this moment. Everything else is speculation. Unless you are building an energetic spell or whatever, unless you're building like this ball of energy that you're directing, that energy is coming at you and you're reacting to it. So are you going to guide the energy? Are you going to use the tools that we've been working on for years, or you have been working on for years? Use your magic. I just posted something about the quantum. Go on my channel on the community post. I don't even know what they're calling it anymore. Posts. And I just posted that, even in science, we have proven that our thoughts can manipulate on the atomic and quantum level. It's been proven. That's all magic is getting ourselves in alignment with the energy that we wish to project versus being attacked, being manipulated, being brainwashed, allowing ourselves to be manipulated, brainwashed, and attacked from the outside versus centering ourselves on the inside, building up that energy and directing it toward what really matters. What really matters. And it's different for everybody. For me, it's peace, love, harmony, spirit, spiritual evolution, compassion, empathy, those kinds of things. Fairness, equity, blah, blah, blah. I can go on and on and on. Anyway, this is very good. Very good. Particularly talking about how we can explore forms of masculinity within us that we didn't know existed because the path challenges gay stereotypes around male. I kind of agree with that. I kind of agree with that. You know, one of the questions, maybe I'll come back the week after next, because next week we're doing Samhain. I did 3 questions, and it's already been 45 minutes. Someone had talked to me exactly about that, the neon cicada, about that, the two-spirit, the masculinity within us that we don't know existed. I know. And I know what you mean is what I'm saying. Anyway, I want to get to that question. And it has a little bit to do with two-spirit and paganism and God and goddess within and balance. And yeah. Oh, definitely. We're going to talk about that. Anyway, y'all, I wish I could stay. I've got to move on to my next assignment from the heavens or wherever. Anyway, I love you all so, so much. And I'm so grateful to have you all a part of my life. And don't forget, next week, we will be celebrating Samhain. I love you. I will see you all then. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for watching, my friends. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends. And if you'd like to unlock some amazing exclusive perks like special classes, meditations, courses, and more, consider becoming a supporting member of my channel. Just click subscribe on Facebook or join on YouTube. I love you, friends, and I'll see you next time.